Hey out there, we want to talk about a new podcast which is related with the rent machine and why money is not neutral. This is an old topic, really. This is not an old topic, not that old, not that new, not that requires more comprehension that everyone thinks because understanding why the money is not neutral is the key to just only see the financial dashboard to understand the structural forces that move markets. Well, we wanna begin with low distant trading floor, then cut to silence. Well, yes, rent as in money earned not by producing, but by controlling the rules, licenses, monopolies, IP modes. I repeat again. Ren, guess, dry, slightly amused. Okay. What is a rent? What is a rent seeking mechanism? Well, rent as in money, earned but not producing, but by controlling the rules, licenses, monopolies, IP modes, loving. Too big to fail. The game isn't who works harder, it's who owns the tall boots. Well, what do you think about it? What do you say? Well, that's a quiet answer. That's pretty nice, but let me say here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. Money is not neutral. When liquidity floods the system, it doesn't land equally. It hit first the banks, the big balance sheets, the insiders, and only later the wages, the prices, the everyday person they left behind. Okay, so well, and I'm here ears. Yeah, that's a cantillon effect. Yeah, you're right. And stock housing, even crypto, is not magic. It's plumbing. You're right. You're right. Completely right. You're amusing me. Uh, and the corporate world. Let's talk about the corporate world. It learned to turn politics into business models. They are very smart. Indeed, they are very smart. It learned to turn politics into a business model. So they find a way to convert politics into a business model, which is very important. Regulation becomes a weapon, government becomes architecture, and capture becomes normal. Nobody knows it, nobody see it right or wrong, nobody talks about it. It is like the moon you see all night. You don't talk to, you don't think on those stuffs too much. Okay? The real question isn't is capitalism good or bad? Yeah, that's not the real question. Is who designed the mechanism? Right, right, completely right with you, user. Because if the state is weak, it gets kidnapped. It gets kidnapped. If it is strong without safeguards and it gets corrupted, the only way out is design rules that punish extraction and reward production. You are saying something very important in the punish extraction and reward production. This is something that could be innocent, but this is the better root, is the root of all of our problems. Okay, that's the project map. The board traces that's the project map that we are doing. We are making a project map which consists on the board tracing the contagion effects, find the points of rent, and build a system where nobody wins by breaking the civilization that fits them. So it's stuff very weird in different in differential equations we are studying, but we think that the modern theory of states, the theory of state, the theory of government, is not is outdated for our time because those theories lacking ranging from Hobbes, Locke, Montesquieu were designed for um, keeping low the power of of the king. But today's we are not facing that problem. We are not keeping low the power of a king. We have to keep low the power of mega corporations that are so big that they can create their own money. How they create their own money, which is very interesting. Well, actually, the standard theory of finance says that the more sophisticated, the more productive is a firm, the more advanced is the WAC management in a firm, the structure of capital in a firm, the more convexity it has. Well, actually, it turns out to be that it is the the firm that produces the better outcomes and well prices. So the market values these firms at prices that are supposed to reflect the real managerial capacities and productivity. But that's not right at all. That's not right always because when a firms when a firm have an IPO or a first public offering, suddenly when this firm has the people has huge beliefs, huge psychological beliefs in returns in these firms has access to huge leverage. That leverage helps them to buybacks their actions, their bonus, and suddenly by financial engineer, the prices of this firm goes up and up and up, and then they have more leverage, and they can produce the same effect without being that productive, without being that sophisticated, without being that employee giver, and they have a price an action price going up and up and up and up and up without having to uh, con- without having to without having to hire any other employee or something like that. This is pure engineer, and this financial engineer is well teach in Harvard, in Yale, in all those Ivy League institutions and CFA level academy test. Well, but talking about that, that's not the problem. The problem is that when the real economy is far, far away from the financial outcomes, from this cantillon effect, there are huge problems because they are allowed to produce like some sort of quasi monetary emission. They are allowed to produce some sort of quasi monetary emission. They are allowed to produce their own money because they are leveraging the price of their actions, the price of their shares. And by leveraging the price of their shares, they make a spectacular increase in their patrimonial, in the total asset accumulation, and they liquefy some sort of the passives that they have with the public with by inflation, or they have that opportunity in the times of quantitative easing. But the problem is that they produce that money, but they don't have any sort of uh, legal obligation. States owns the monopoly of violence. By the monopoly of violence, they produce their own money because states need money in order to make those citizens to have to give some sort of tribute. That tribute, that tax should be taxed in some sort of currency, and the government decided. But in an imperial country, or an in an imperial region, that currency has some exorbitant privileges. And we want to talk about those exorbitant privileges later, because it's very important to talk about those important exorbitant privileges for now on. But for now on, I want to concentrate in the capacity of firms to produce their own money, and they don't have any legal obligation. But the government has the legal obligation, like the sovereign, like the king, like the sovereign, to respond to the citizens for any bankruptcy of the state. But they don't have any legal obligation, all those businesses. So it's some sort of rent seeking. And that rent seeking is secured by the millions and millions and millions of dollars they spend in lobbying, in Washington, in lobbying with a senator, in lobbying for any revolting door, etc. Okay, so this is one way of rent seeking. Then there is another way of rent seeking, which is quite modern. Nowadays, we have our ETFs. The ETFs, some guy says that this is a huge financial innovations, like 4 or 3 years ago, because this spreads the risk all over the shares of the S&P S&P 500. But that's not true. The seven magnificent companies had 35% of the S&P 500, and we have to be very careful analyzing on that data, taking taking some sort of attention to that data, because there is no some sort of this there is no certification, there is no diversification at all. Sorry, there is no diversification at all, because we have 25 to you have 25 to what? What are your changes to 65? There is no more. There is no more 60/40. Okay, there is no more 60/40. You just have 25/55. Sorry. So, but you have to consider not only those risks, because risk is a structural thing. Because, for example, if you analyze the current balance sheet of Apple, you will see that the most of the active, their balance sheet, the active they have in their balance sheet are indeed um, non are indeed fixed actives. So that means that Microsoft is preparing for that crusade of making data centers, making power grid, go to nuclear energy, go to eolic energy, go to some all sort of energy, uh, by land, water issues, IoT, and lots of things, because AI, which is the thing that has everyone with such huge hype expectations. AI is not a magic thing. AI requires a lot and a lot of infrastructure which is not free at all, and it is very expensive, so expensive that has many years, like 20, like 10 years, for example, to be recovered, the discounted flows for building them. So the promise of AI is to increase productivity by some sort. I heard some very crazy guy that gonna be the president of the Federal Reserve that says that AI could hit 26 sigma. Do you have any idea of 26 sigma? 26 sigma is like the distance from here to the moon. So 26 sigma is like a long tail, a very black swan, which is not wrong, indeed. I believe that this guy is watching these numbers and is crunching numbers in his head, thinking in this percentage, because he's only at the side of the financial sheet. But what about the economy? The real economy. The real economy doesn't work like that. The real economy is logarithmic at the scale. Real economy is not financial economy. Financial economy grows exponentially, goes from there to there in no time. But real financial economy, but real economy is way more resilient, and is way more slower than financial economy. Real economy is logarithmic. What does it mean? Is logarithmic? Well, it means that it does not grow as the expected value of financial assets, because for real economy it needs that the real assets must be done. Real economy needs real bridges, real buildings, real data centers, real solar panels, real IoT, real power grid, real energy, whatever that energy is, nuclear energy, eolic energy, geothermal energy, wind energy, whatever. But it doesn't gonna happen in the snap of a finger. it requires some time. So uh, Microsoft, whatever, it doesn't matter the power Microsoft has, whatever the power Microsoft has, it does not gonna beat nature forces. At least it has pharaonic, uh, at least it has a pharaonic amount of slaves building their data centers, but it doesn't gonna happen, right? So AI is a pretty huge innovation. It's a some sort of cognitive prosthesis, a cognitive prosthesis, I believe, that can help us to reach our own potential, but without a human being is nothing. The that speech of AI, and some people that fears the FOMO of AI, they are not right. AI still need people, and people will require new skills in order to scale it, right? Because AI is not a being. You are a human being. AI is not a being. What does that mean? AI does not has agency. So what is agency after all? AI does not think by their own. AI needs clear output of orders called prompts. By those prompts, they evolve conversations into something useful. They are trained by humans. They multiply the quantity of a human brain by a trillion factor. But remember something: a human brain only requires 20 volts of energy. The data centers require megabytes of energy. So you gotta be pretty skeptic about that. But there are real opportunity to be rent seeking in these times. So there are many opportunities to be rent seeking. We are reaching a new era of financial dominance, which means Volcker times are going again. So if you wanna see, you wanna know about the opportunities that you need to have, or you will have, or you will build. Well, uh, th- we are here in this channel. You can write out your question to my email, or you can have an interview with us, uh, or something else we can do, and we will be more than happy to help you, because this gonna be very weird times. But in these weird times, in which confusion, in which things are going nowhere, dollar is going down, gold for first time i- is retracting from their upward trend. Bitcoin has lost the half of the value it wins by the Trump election. Silver is slightly changing their value. Uh, and in this period of financial dominance, we want to see which companies are zombies and which companies are really strong, are well positioned. So the art of the rent seeking, and the art of being an non-hero, is to find what those zombies companies, short them, and find the structural ones and launder them. That's a pretty basic advice. But we have more tools if you want to use it. So subscribe to this channel. We will be more than help you to give you financial advice in in these times in which we are living. Uh, as we are losing something, we are losing more than something. We are losing our agency power. We are losing our rights that were conquered a year ago. Still, um, that were conquered just 100 years ago, um, and many other things, and also an anxious youth that does not know how to get rid with the problem of getting a home and something like that. But let me tell you, there is hope. There is hope. Just uh, you just in somehow need to be the hacker of the system, and it is possible to be the hacker of the system. It's not possible win all the tables, but it's possible to to hack the system a little bit just for your future and for building your retirement. And I will be more than happy to help you with that. Thank you so much, as always.